Ryerson University in Alumni Relations, and I manage the Student and Recent Alumni Program. So we wanted to talk today about convocation because it's always a bit of a hot topic in terms of how do you engage your graduates as they're coming out during convocation, because it's always such a busy time. So one of the things that I kind of over the last few years at Ryerson, we were looking to try to get away from paper-based engagement, giving those out during the convocation period, and try to figure out ways that we can get the message out there about who Alumni Relations is and how we service them when they're graduating, but do so in a more sustainable way. We recognize that convocation for Ryerson, we have about 6,000 graduates per year. Convocation is a very celebratory season, so it's a great opportunity to engage that group during a very positive period of their lives. So it's very happy, lots of family are there to share. It's a great opportunity to showcase the university, the campus. Many of the graduates and their parents especially, our family members, are coming onto campus for the first time. So obviously it's a great opportunity to showcase that. And it's also an opportunity for Ryerson and Alumni Relations and the internal stakeholders of the university, all the different departments and programs, to show that they are supporting their grads after they graduate. Some of the challenges is that it is a very busy time, and the audience itself isn't a very captive audience in the sense that they have their other priorities. They're excited, their family's there. They're buzzing with their friends. They're so excited to have accomplished this. It's not exactly the time for us to be trying to force messaging in their faces for them to absorb. So understanding that, how do we take a step back and try to get the messages out there, but do so in a very non-intrusive way. Some universities, and many universities, the convocation ceremonies themselves are steeped in tradition. They're very conservative. They aren't necessarily ceremonies where they want change to occur that's going to help speak to this new kind of emerging demographic that's coming out. So there are some barriers there, as well as barriers from the department level in terms of everybody communicating within the same language at the same time, trying to get the messages out there. One of the challenges for us was defining the role of Alumni Relations at convocation. What is our purpose there? And for us, we've kind of come to terms with the fact that our purpose there is to support them during that day, to be there to answer their questions, to give them directions, and to just support the family and be that kind of voice during that day. Staffing volunteers, we're a small department at Ryerson. We manage our piece of convocation, but it is ceremonies that are done by multiple different areas. So that just in and of itself is a bit of a challenge, but it's one that we're working to overcome. And I think we, as you'll see in this presentation, it's something that I think we were really successful with this year. And then the other challenge is, how do we go about sharing the experience with the community at Ryerson, with the family, with the other students, so that it's not just their own ceremony that they're experiencing, but how is it something that we can share with the alumni that have already gone through that experience, as well as get because we have 14 ceremonies, as many of us have multiple ceremonies, how can we build momentum throughout those 14 ceremonies so that everybody's excited for each other and it's just not just your experience. So taking all that in, over the last couple of years, we started obviously social media and just digital interaction and growing it exponentially. So we wanted to recognize that, and also we knew that millennials do prefer to connect through technology. So this one, the image is from the Millennial Impact Study of 2013, that 75% of millennials are wanting to like, share, and retweet content. So convocation, because it's such a positive experience, generally it's a great opportunity for universities to be capitalizing on the fact that they do want to share positive experiences. So 2 years ago, we had a 25 reasons to say you're from Ryerson brochure that we were giving out at convocation. It was a booklet, it was a lot of paper. It was read and it was a great piece and we liked it, but it was expensive to produce. And from our feedback from the Convocation office, a lot of those pieces were just left in the seats at Convocation afterwards. So it created a lot of waste, which we didn't like. And in that case, we wanted to kind of get away from it and rethink the way that we are messaging at Convocation and getting some of the information out. As well, we wanted to have a point piece on that day that they do receive that directs them to our website, directs them to the social media, lets them know about the hashtag, and do so in a way that kind of catches everybody in one kind of fail swoop. So we incorporated an in-ceremony welcome email and a pre-ceremony, which actually happens within the theater itself, just as they're kind of getting coordinated and seated, but before all the professors when that kind of come in onto stage. So everybody's ceremony is a little bit different, but all our students, graduating students come in, get seated, and then there's all the dignitaries come in afterwards. So we have a video that is playing just before those dignitaries kind of come in, but it is a welcome message, and I will show it to you, specifically from alumni to the graduating class. So then in 2000, that has gone over really well. Last year it won the CCA silver medal, so we were really excited about that, just to see that it was something new and fresh. And then this year we've maintained doing that email. It's something that we do now, probably going forward. We've maintained the video aspect, and then we started to team up with counterparts within the university for what we call the RoadfromRyerson campaign, which I'll talk a little bit about. So the welcome email, and I know that Lori had mentioned that they're doing this as well, just to give you a sense of what that looks like in case you're not totally sure. We receive email addresses from curriculum advising about 3 weeks before graduation, basically after everybody who has applied to graduate, that deadline ends. They have time to kind of verify all those graduating students, and then we are given a list of those graduating students' email addresses only, so that we can segment emails for each ceremony that's happening at Convocation. So it is the first touch point of the day, and we have now been sending it out an hour before each ceremony. So as you can see, these are all linkable. So it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and it provides an opportunity for them to update their email address. It drives alumni or the graduating class to the website, and it provides, again, an opportunity to update their information, which is super important. We all want that information so that we can contact them after they've graduated. But what's great about this is that for 2 hours, they're sitting there with their phones now, which we all know, we all have our phone probably very close by to us right now. And they're always looking for something to do during 2-hour ceremony. Sometimes they can get a little dry. So it gives them something to do. It gives them, they got that welcome message. They know that we're there, that we're thinking about them, but we're just not in their face trying to get a message to them. So it's just, they can look at the email, they can look through. And again, it promotes the hashtag for the day. So if they are tweeting or if they are sending out messages, then they know that that hashtag exists. So for 2015, over the 2-week period, 46% of the recipients opened the email. So it was fairly high for us. That was a good number. We were happy with it. 10% clicked through during the ceremonies themselves. I haven't looked at the emails actually since. So just through those, that 10-day period, there was click-throughs happening. 92 went to Twitter, 135 visited LinkedIn, 280 visited Facebook, and 290 updated their information. So the numbers aren't massive, given you're looking at 6,000, but people are aware, people are opening the email, and whether or not they're going and actually making an actual follow, they're aware that these channels exist, and it's just a kind of a quiet touch point for them to say, congratulations, you did it. So I had mentioned that we do the welcome to the family video, and I'll show it for you in 2 seconds. So we created the video, again, to replace the booklet that we had been handing out. It promotes our key messaging, the stay in touch, get involved, enjoy the privileges, which many of you probably just ate. We also give out those. We give out, for those who aren't here, you missed out on the M&Ms, which I just gave everybody, which we also give out while people are lining up for their gowns. We have these M&Ms that kind of, it's a fun little, again, it's a kind of a nice way to kind of make them smile. A lot of people tweet out those M&Ms. I think that they're the coolest things. So if you like them, then look into them because they're definitely popular. But again, yes, the video was to promote the key messages that we have within alumni relations at Ryerson and establish the message of being part of a Ryerson family, which we hear a lot, I think, nowadays, the idea of family. It was relatively new about 3 years ago at Ryerson. So this video was kind of the start from the alumni perspective in introducing the idea of being part of a family as well. We had a goal to engage some of our noteworthy recent alumni a little bit more. So this was a great opportunity for us to pick some of our noteworthy alumni to be a part of the video and showcase where they have successfully gone now. And then again, one of the things that I've been hearing a lot, at least in my research, is the idea of graduating student transition and how do you kind of create an environment where students are feeling a little bit more secure about the fact that they're graduating, they may not have a job. And it was touched on a little bit in the last presentation. So it was an opportunity to showcase that grads are getting jobs, they are leading successful careers after they graduate, and they're recent. As well, we wanted to create some shareable content for the website, something that we could have on our YouTube page, things that we can tweet out more of that kind of content, and again, move away from paper-based promotional pieces, which is something that we really appreciate. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'll play the video so you know what it looks like if you haven't seen it.
And actually, while Erin's setting that up, there was a quick clarification that came in on Twitter, again from Massachusetts. So I didn't know this, but I guess in Massachusetts and maybe over the entire US, convocation, for our US viewers, when we talk about convocation, we're actually talking about American commencement. And they see convocation as the ceremony that seniors and freshmen participate in to kick off and commemorate the beginning of their last and first academic years. So just to clarify, we're talking about when people finish their school and are moving on.
Right, so for those who, if you didn't hear what Erin said and you're online watching commencement, yeah, convocation is kind of equivalent to what your commencement would be. So.
Congratulations, your time as a Ryerson student has come to an end, and the next chapter of your life as a Ryerson graduate is about to begin. It's your time to shine, time to make your mark.
As a Ryerson grad, part of an elite ever-expanding group of 150,000 alumni worldwide. And with social technology today, there's no reason not to tap into that. You may come from different backgrounds and specialize in different professions, but we're all part of a unique Ryerson experience.
As you make the transition from student life to the rest of your life, Ryerson and fellow grads are here to support you.
And countless volunteers manage dozens of alumni groups, offering networking, professional development, and amazing events at home and abroad.
When you are traveling, whether for work or pleasure, alumni regional contacts and ambassadors are situated around the world for you to connect with.
As a Ryerson alumni, you get discounts on just about anything, from car insurance to your favorite sporting events.
So go, make your mark. Wherever you are, we'll be there. Ryerson's future success depends on you, and you can depend on us.
Welcome.
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 Welcome to the family.
All right, so we're back. So thank you for the claps. I was excited. Okay. Yeah, so I really love that piece. It was a lot of fun to do. We were able to get.
So since you guys are our young alumni filmmakers, can you tell us a little bit about that?
And we're off.
Shout out to Stanford U if you're watching. I'll own the comic relief of the day. Yeah, so the video itself was a lot of fun. We took 3 days, and the alumni were great. They allowed us or got, in some cases, in hospitals, and some of the locations were a bit more challenging, but they went through out of their way to get all the approvals to come on site and allow the film crews and whatnot. So I think that it was, for us, it's been a great opportunity to showcase some of our alumni, and out of that video, 2 of the alumni, specifically Anika Elliott and Rhiannon Trail, weren't seriously engaged after or before that video. And since they were a part of that video, Anika Elliott has joined, and she's no longer with because her term ended, but Anika Elliott joined the Ryerson University Alumni Association Board, so that's the overarching alumni association for all associations. And Rhiannon Trail is now an alumni representative on the Board of Governors. So those kind of pieces, looking at engaging them in a more digital way, is a great way to kind of build that relationship with them and keep them engaged after they graduated. So taking it to the next level, so first 2 years we did the video and the email, and then this year we wanted to kind of take it up a notch because we've done the same thing for the last couple of years. So it incorporates multiple stakeholder collaboration, pooling resources and talent, campus-wide activation, and being more proactive and telling the student story. So that resulted in what we call RoadfromRyerson, which was a pilot this year, but I highly suspect due to its success that it will be an ongoing thing from now on. I want to give a huge shout out, if anybody from Ryerson is watching right now, and just in general, to the creative services team at Ryerson who work in student affairs, who were a huge part of this particular program. And we couldn't have done it without them, and for sure it just kind of highlights what you can achieve when you're collaborating with multiple people. So we had multiple departments. So it had started with an initial partnership or even conversation that I was having with some of my counterparts in career services and student affairs about graduating transition. And through some of the research that I've done recently, that recent alumni are wanting more planning in terms of how they exit university and how they can kind of prepare themselves for life after graduation. So keeping that in mind, we wanted to look at leading up to graduation, what we could do in order to help them prepare, and then it would all culminate at Convocation itself. So, like I said, we began collaborating to address the need for more transition programming, and the Road from Ryerson campaign, it created a bookend. Student Affairs has another award-winning program called the Road to Ryerson, and this Road from Ryerson bookends on that and is very much modeled on its success. And again, we launched Road from Ryerson during our annual Alumni Expo, which is kind of like a grad fair for the graduating class, which we had also teamed up with Student Affairs to host the inaugural last lecture, which was in March. So that's kind of when it started, when we launched it. So for one of the key pieces for Road from Ryerson was 5 of our graduating students were engaged to be bloggers. So we recruited those students and soon-to-be grads during Alumni Expo and last lecture. The students applied to be kind of the face of Road from Ryerson by creating a little 1-minute video, sometimes shorter, just to talk about the Ryerson experience and what they would like to share. Others we approached through just their organic use of the hashtag during Alumni Expo in the last lecture. So we were just able to identify some who were automatically kind of organically wanting to be involved with that. And the bloggers represented 4 faculties, and we've intentionally made it such that they had diverse backgrounds and different experiences to share. So these were some of our participants. And then we met just before all the blogs, or actually it was after the first blog, to talk to them and just to kind of give them a sense of what we were hoping to hear from them, because blogging doesn't come naturally to everybody. I'm not sure I could do it myself, but they were really brave, and I'm really proud of the work that kind of came out of them. So we really encouraged them to be honest about that transition period. So the bloggers were led, like I said, through the creative services unit, specifically Bailey Parnell, so shout out to Bailey. Each was responsible for, I think it was 5 blogs over a 6-week period leading up to Convocation. And they were encouraged to speak candidly. Some of them were really scared about graduating. They didn't have jobs, but a lot of students don't. So we wanted them to be really honest, because we knew that once they did that, they would resonate with their peers, and it would kind of get the campaign would become real. It would become valuable to them. It would become something that they would find solace in if they were nervous, or it would be, in some cases, they were just really great, positive, awesome, excited posts. And it's another opportunity for them to resonate with their peers and to engage them. And then we worked to make sure that, at least within the Ryerson community itself, that the blogs were highly kind of put out there so that the community itself knew about it. And then, of course, all the participants were very active in posting it out too. So you can see some of the tweets that were kind of gone out just to support them, but also themselves just sharing their blog posts with the community and their friends. So to give you a sense of some of the metrics that kind of came out of the blogging, the website, the RoadfromRyerson website, over that month period had 17,500 page views. 7,400 of them were unique. So we were pretty happy with that for a first go and a pilot that we had kind of put together 6 weeks beforehand. And one thing that we were really, really excited about was the bounce rate. So the bounce rate, basically, it's if you're on this page, you leave this page and go somewhere completely else, off to a different website, and they stayed within the website. So that was really exciting to see. Some of the other websites we've seen a 6%, so to see 1.5 was pretty phenomenal for us. And then again, page views for each were varied. Sarah had a huge following on Twitter, so she obviously got a lot more page views, but considering, again, this was the first time, we thinking means the highest was 2,600 page views, 1,100 unique, and the lowest was 840 with 390 unique page views. So they're pretty good.
Do you have the blogs on your Ryerson website, or was it through a secondary platform?
No, the website was housed through Student Affairs Creative Services Unit, so it is through the RU Student Life webpage. We've considered, I mean, it would also be awesome to have them on Ryerson alumni site, but it's kind of like reinventing the wheel and trying to build it and thinking that they're going to come to us. Where for 4 years they've been with the Student Affairs Unit, so it just makes sense to kind of drive them there and have that coming out of them, which it just makes sense. So that's where we housed it, and it got a lot of traction that way. Okay, so expanding from the blogging in terms of where it kind of went into community Convocation. So blogs led into Convocation. That was kind of the purpose behind them. In order to kind of take RoadfromRyerson in terms of the hashtag, it was officially adopted across campus as the official hashtag of Convocation. In the end, 28 official Ryerson brands used RoadfromRyerson. The primary influencers were the Ryerson brand staff, alumni, and the bloggers. And one of the cool things that one of the things that happened during the day, and it kind of it made us actually trend nationally, was the fact that the TTC broke down on the morning of one of our biggest ceremonies. So because RoadfromRyerson and the hashtag had been so well utilized prior to Convocation, Twitter and RoadfromRyerson became the most effective way of communicating to all the graduating students who were graduating that day that we were pushing back convocation by 1 hour. So it ended up trending nationally because all the news outlets picked up on RoadfromRyerson and they shared it all. So it just became a funny thing. So one of the tweets was, among the many things that I learned in 4 years at Ryerson, not even a TTC connection can stop me. So it was just kind of fun to see that the students or the graduating students were engaged in using it and using it in a way that they found value in and were into. So one of the greatest things that I thought about RoadfromRyerson was the authentic moments that were shared through social media by the graduating class. And without this, we would never have seen these kind of stories because they just happen, right? So unless there's a platform or an avenue for them to be sharing it and connecting all those great memories and those great moments, they kind of go unnoticed because we're not experiencing them ourselves. So I got choked up a couple times just reading through these some of the days because they're just so happy. And they're bringing the one woman, or the one, she brought her grandfather in, and he was like a super old man from BC, and she was hugging him on the quad, and she's like sending out this great photo, and it was just exciting to see and to be able to actually experience ourselves and to share it with alumni and to share it within the community and have the community also taking part in sending out tweets and Instagrams and whatever to kind of share the experience. So we use Tagboard as a way to kind of culminate all those tweets and Instagrams and create a kind of a platform for RoadfromRyerson that we could send out quickly a tweet to our alumni and say, hey, look what's happening in Convocation. Remember when you went through this? So that alumni could also participate. And then again, it was a great place for us to go after the fact and say, did you miss, you want to relive it? This is a great way for you to kind of relive and see what everybody else experienced as well. So the use of the RoadfromRyerson, for us, it was really successful. We had, 40 plus public Facebook posts. So it sounds like quite a little amount, but that's because they're public. Privately, there's probably a huge number, but those are what we were able to see. 540 Instagram posts, 2,326 tweets, and 6.1 million impressions. So for us, it was a huge success, and we were just really excited. Instagram provided the most authentic view because it was primarily the students and pictures and their experiences and their messages. Not a lot of the internal stakeholder brands like Ryerson alumni or the different departments, not a lot of them have Instagram. So it was a really great place to go and really get a clear sense of the experience that students were having. And so many of them are using Instagram as one of the more popular channels. So that's where you're going to see that authentic kind of experience coming to light. And then from our perspective, the ROI for us was huge. The alumni webpage had 18,000 views over the convocation period. That's up 118% for the 2 weeks prior to that. So it drove a ton of traffic to us, a lot of interest in terms of what we do and what we offer. There were 252 contact updates made, which was 61% higher than 2014. And the update page views rose 51%. So even if they didn't update their information at that time, they know where that page exists. They know where to go. So that for us is great. New followers, Twitter 66, Facebook 246. The Ryerson University LinkedIn page got 1,200 new followers, which is great. And then we had 139, which is less, but it's still great for them to know that that's where they go. They know it's there. So final thoughts. Like I said, RoadfromRyerson and just using different digital platforms was considered a success across the board. Going digital and the value for us, and I would hope that you would see the value, is it created an opportunity for increased team collaboration. A lot of the units had worked together before, so to recognize that the student affairs creative team had extreme talent, and to work with them to kind of create an experience at Convocation that that students would find value in and that would be able to be shared with our stakeholders and our alumni was super awesome. It improved the convocation experience for Ryerson students and the stakeholders. It gave an opportunity for departments and individuals to be involved in convocation and to share their message of, congratulations, and for students to see that when they go on Instagram or they go on Twitter, they see that those people and those departments are supporting them through that transition to new grads. It provided a method for students to share their graduation experience and to experience others, like I mentioned. A starting point for continued engagement. It's a great method to identify some of our keeners and people who are really proud so that you can engage with them after the fact and say, hey, I saw your tweet, would love to meet you, or would love to see you involved in this because of this. So it's a great way of identifying some of the people who really, really love your institution. And it leverages organic, authentic, non-intrusive methods of engagement during a time that's super busy and they have their own priorities, but it's still a great way to be there and to leverage that and then achieve results in a cost-effective manner. It wasn't a super expensive, it was time and labor, which definitely has its costs, but overall I think it was relatively inexpensive for us to do. And then I guess I'll leave it at that because I wasn't too sure I went over.
Only by a minute.
But I'd love to hear, if not right now, then maybe later on, how others are kind of using digital avenues to engage in general, but also convocation, because I think it is a really great opportunity to do it.
So we did have one question come in from Twitter, from University of Calgary. How do you get the data of who's convocating so quickly? Which I think is probably a question that a lot of us have.
I've built for me it was about building a really strong relationship with the curriculum advising team, but also prior to convocation, we also have our Alumni Expo in March. So we do receive email addresses for those who have applied to graduate. So for really, at that point, they're kind of considered to be en route to being our contact information to a certain degree. So we're using, for leading up to Alumni Expo, we are sending emails on a weekly basis to kind of promote Alumni Expo. And then before convocation, once that applied to graduate window kind of ends, they clean the list, they approve anybody that's going to be graduating, and then they are able to give me the file. It's just the name and the email address, and it's only used for kind of that one-time hit that's happening on graduation. So we're not touching them again until their actual convocation day. So in that sense, I think it's a little bit more accepted because they know that the communication is going to go when they are crossing the stage for their alumni, so they're within our pool. Back.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I graduated from Ryerson 2015 content program, so I received those emails and I thought they were really well done. Even though I didn't attend grad, it was nice to just get that email at work that morning. Just feel like we would appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice to hear. No, that's really great. Anybody else?
How many people do, as far as staff members or volunteers, I guess, do you have monitoring those accounts and that hashtag on your ceremony days?
On the ceremony days, so that was, those were managed or monitored through the student affairs unit. So probably 2 to 3, I'm thinking. I mean, we had, in order to kind of flesh it out and promote people, we had a team that was actually within the gowning area. So we had like one of the big banners, the photo banners, so we were encouraging people to be taking their photo with the photo banner and using the hashtag. So that was one way we were trying to kind of get it out there. There were some prize giveaways using if you use the hashtag, then at the end of the day, we're giving a $25 gift certificate. So we did have different things kind of happening that encouraged it, but yeah, there were a couple people, minimum 2, but sometimes 3.
You're in Alumni Expo in March. What
types of things do you have at it? Is it just about alumni? Is it like career stuff? Is it like what type of?
It's kind of like a service fair, so we have all our internal departments who provide services to recent alumni or alumni in general. Grad studies, Con Ed, any possible kind of area of Ryerson that an alum can get involved with after they graduate. So we have them representing. It's evolved over the years. A couple of years ago, we had roundtables where I think we had about 50 different alumni, recent alumni, from all different programs who were there just to answer questions. So that was really popular. But this year we scaled down a little bit and then incorporated and teamed up with the Student Affairs Unit to start our inaugural last lecture, which was successful too. So that's a new tradition that we're looking to kind of build. So we'll probably always team up Alumni Expo and last lecture just because it makes sense. And now that we've built this relationship around graduating transition with Student Affairs and Alumni Relations, we expect that the Road from Ryerson programming will not just be kind of the digital at Convocation thing. It will likely then start to flesh out in terms of career planning and different workshops and whatnot under the Road from Ryerson kind of banner. But this was just our way of kind of launching the brand and working together to see it off the ground and make sure that people knew it and heard about it and knew what it was. So.
Can you just talk for a couple minutes about your last lecture, what that, excuse me, what that is?
Sure. So the last lecture it's a fairly popular event that happens across, I think it was Randy Posh who originally started the last lecture trend. So he sadly was terminally ill, so he wanted to create this last lecture, and it's kind of expanded from there. So for ours, we had a professor who we engaged, one of our most popular one, Arnie Kislenko. So he did basically what would be his last lecture to the graduating class if it was his last lecture. So other schools do different things, but that is what we had him do, a talk to the graduating class. We also had two of the graduating students do what they've learned in 4 years and kind of where they're at before they graduate. And then we had a recent alum actually do her kind of last lecture as well in terms of this is my advice for you as you embark on being a new grad. So. Anything else?
Great. Thanks,
Okay.
Erin.
Well, I'll leave it at that, but if you have any questions, feel free to email me, tweet me. I'm here all day, so I'm happy to answer any questions, and yeah, thanks.